This is Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi. Here now, Tony Bruschi.
3 months. That's how long it took. 3 months after Anna Kepner's death was ruled a homicide. Her body found hidden under a bed on a Carnival cruise ship, wrapped in a blanket, covered with life vests. Her 14-year-old brother sleeping feet away without knowing. Her 16-year-old stepbrother walked into Miami's James Lawrence King Federal Justice Center for a closed-door hearing with a federal judge. According to the Daily Mail, which had exclusive images of the arrival, he showed up flanked by his father, Thomas Hudson, a scrawny kid in a camo hoodie and a ball cap, eyes forward and mouth shut, and according to well-placed sources cited by the Daily Mail, he wasn't there for one charge. He was there for multiple, at least two. But here's the part that changes the entire shape of this case. Anna's own father, Christopher Kepner, told the Daily Mail he was, and I'm quoting directly, unable to confirm or deny that his stepson was facing murder and SA charges. Yeah. And a case where the preliminary findings back in November reported by ABC News told us there was no signs of SA. No drugs, no alcohol in her system, just mechanical asphyxiation from what investigators described as a bar hold, an arm pressed across the neck, 2 bruises on her throat. That was the picture. That's what we were working with for months. And now, if SA charges are part of the federal prosecution, and what the FBI built during 90 days of silence just rewrote the story every single person following this case thought they understood. Now, let me be clear. Christopher Kepner's statement is not a confirmation. Unable to confirm or deny is a careful choice of words, but it's not a denial either. And this is a man whose position has shifted dramatically since November. When the Daily Mail first spoke to him on November 11th, he dismissed any suggestion that his stepson was a suspect. 2 weeks later, he told People magazine he was the only one in the room. I can't say he's responsible, but I can't rule it out. I want him to face the consequences. Well, the consequences have come knocking. That's a father watching the evidence pile up around a kid who lived in his house, who was part of his blended family, who was allegedly alone in that cabin with his daughter the night she died. I mean, for a moment, and look, there's a lot of information on this case. There's a lot of things where we look at the dad and we go, let's talk about your decision-making throughout life and what led us here. Yeah. Look, we can do that. We've done it 1,000 times already. But just for a second, let's look at the human side of this. Let's go and say, life is where it is now. Things have changed. People have made decisions. People have made bets. We've all made bets. I'm not dismissing his choices because I think they're a little curious. But I'm just saying, okay, years later, you're trying to live your life. You got stepkids in your house. You got your daughter. And this is the dynamic. It is what it is. We don't, in this moment, need to judge everybody's past decision-making. And this is the dynamic. You're wondering, you're fearful that another person, another child in your house could have done this, had the potential to do this. We talk about predatory behavior a lot on this program. It's kind of the nature of the show. And we actually just did a piece about Nancy Guthrie about predatory planning. It's like, it almost like predatory planning. It's plan for your future. I feel like we're like Tom Selleck is going to give a commercial here about IRAs or something. Predatory planning. Ask your financial advisor today. But predators do plan. And how often the planning is missed by everybody in the circle. Because, number one, we're all distracted by 1,000 things. And number two, the idea that someone close to us could be predatorily planning something against another person in the circle that's really, for the most part, should be there to support and care about each other. Like, this is your group, this is your pack, you got each other's back, that sort of thing. We don't want to think that somebody in the pack might not have each other's back, or only do for a certain reason, and want to take advantage of somebody in there and still have each other's back, but they want to hurt somebody in the process. Get something out of them. And how often we miss that as human beings. I'm wondering how much, looking back, that family is doing right now. And again, I'm not saying anybody's guilty or innocent here at this moment in time. We don't have that. But certainly with these accusations, and obviously we know the dynamics of what's going on here, you're going to be wondering. You're going to be looking back. You're going to be looking like, wow, what did that mean? That look, that phrase that was said, that action that was taken, was that something other than what I interpreted it as at that moment in time? I mean, it's a natural thing to be doing if they're introspective at all. I don't know. But it would be, I think it'd be a mountain. A very hard mountain to climb. A difficult pill to swallow, if you will. But I think you need to do it, be intellectually honest, especially considering your daughter's dead. So how do we get here? Because the road from November to this federal courtroom is I would say, one of the strangest procedural journeys that we've covered. And as we continue into this, give me your thoughts in the comment section on YouTube or our Substack, hiddenkillers.substack.com. The link is in the description. It's free right now. Join it, get in on everything, and comment and get our stories a day before they go out to the public in advance, ad-free. hiddenkillers.substack.com. The link is in the description. Or you can go to hiddenkillerspod.com. It takes you there as well. After Anna's body was discovered on November 7th aboard the Carnival Horizon, the FBI took jurisdiction because the death occurred in international waters. It's what they do then. They boarded the ship when it docked in Miami the next morning, interviewed the family, pulled surveillance footage, started analyzing keycard data and cell phone records, and they went quiet. Completely. Totally. Maddeningly quiet. For weeks. Then months. No press conferences, no suspect announcements, no charges, just nothing. And here's the thing. Almost everything the public learned about this case didn't come from the FBI. It came from a custody dispute. Chantel Hudson Kepner, Anna's stepmother and the mother of the suspect, was in the middle of a divorce and custody battle with her ex-husband, Thomas Hudson, and those court filings became the window into a federal homicide investigation that the FBI refused to open themselves. That's where we learned the stepbrother was identified as a suspect. That's where the text messages surfaced. That's where the behavioral history came out. Family court did the FBI's job for them, whether the FBI wanted it or not, at least the public-facing end of it. The text messages alone were damning, not because they proved guilt, but because they showed priorities. On November 8th, roughly 32 hours after Anna's body was found, Chantel finally texted Thomas, "I need you to call me ASAP. It's an emergency." That's a day and a half. The ship had already docked in Miami that morning, and when the text started flowing, the focus wasn't on Anna. It wasn't on grief. It was on containment. Thomas texted about keeping things hush-hush, about making sure their son didn't get unnecessary comments on social media, because God knows that's really what we need to be concerned with. Those unnecessary comments. Your daughter's dead. Might have been the stepson that did it. But let's make sure he doesn't get no comment. Like what? I don't know. If someone ever did this to my daughter, they would be dead. I mean, I don't think we'd make it to court. I don't think we'd make it to the phase of like, oh, he's texting about social media. Or like, no, he's in prison because he's killed the person who killed the daughter. Yeah. Guaranteed. But somehow, your daughter's dead, and just less than 24 hours in, you're like worrying about social media management and PR for your stepson. Really? How about you let Snowflake burn, okay? Unnecessary comments. Why? Might it hurt his feelings? Maybe he should have had his feelings hurt a little bit more in life leading up to this. Maybe he wouldn't have thought to have the authority to do such a horrible thing, allegedly, if he did, had he had his feelings hurt a little bit more, had he been shoved down a little bit more in life, told, hey, you're an idiot kid. You can't do this sort of shit. We're not going to allow it. There's consequences to your actions. Maybe he wouldn't have felt that he had the autonomy to carry out a plan like that if, in fact, he did. And we don't know. Let's just say he did. But you're already wrapping him in bubble wrap so he doesn't have to feel the consequences of his actions. Oh, poor little snowflake. Chantel responded that he was a minor and his name shouldn't be anywhere and that they'd known more once the autopsy came back. Then she wrote the line that tells you everything about what the family already understood. Once we get the autopsy today, depending on what it says, depending on whether he's booked on those charges, they knew. From the moment that ship docked, they knew charges were possible. And instead of reckoning with that, they went into damage control mode. Chantel also described visiting her son at the psychiatric facility where he was placed immediately after disembarking the cruise. According to her text, he told her repeatedly that he couldn't remember anything from the night Anna died. Can't remember. The same kid who was the only person seen on surveillance footage entering and exiting the cabin. The same kid who, according to Stephen Weston, the father of Anna's ex-boyfriend, who told Inside Edition about conversations with his son, was allegedly obsessed with Anna and was reportedly once caught climbing on top of her while she slept during 3 a.m. phone FaceTime call. The same kid whose older brother, Andrew, who wasn't on the cruise, later testified in custody court about chokeholds being used in the household. The same kid who had been prescribed medication for ADHD and insomnia, and according to his mother's own testimony, had skipped the insomnia meds for 2 nights on the cruise, including the night before Anna's body was found. For 3 months, that kid was living with a relative in an undisclosed location in Florida. When the Daily Mail tracked him to that rural home before charges were filed, he said 5 words: "I'd rather not talk." I bet you'd rather not. That was it. Now, leading up to the federal court's appearance, Anna's grandmother, Barbara Collins Kepner, posted on Facebook that her step-grandson had turned himself in. According to the grandmother, he was initially charged as a juvenile under Florida state law, but the FBI would seek to have him tried as an adult, so she also made an accusation that cuts to the heart of the family fracture in this case. She said Thomas Hudson, the suspect's biological father, fired the defense attorney and got 3 more days of discovery. Her words: "It's his biological father and her first stepmother, Tabitha Kepner, that are interfering with the investigation and keeping us from getting justice." That's the quote. That's a grandmother's account on social media. Not a verified court record, but it tracks with everything we've been watching play out. Everyone's innocent until proven guilty. This is an opinion piece. Because there are clearly 2 sides of how this family works now, And the divide appears to be total. On one side, you got Anna's people, the Kepner grandparents, Barbara and Jeffrey, who took Anna on their first cruise. You heard her say, "Mima, I love you guys. I'll see you later," the night before she died. Drew Kepner, Anna's uncle, who posted in Facebook groups tracking this case. It's a heartbreaking day when a murderer can walk around as if nothing happened, showing no remorse for taking the life of an innocent young woman while his dad's family seems completely fine with it. Our justice system is deeply flawed when it takes this long to act despite undeniable evidence. Yeah, I'd say so. On the other side, you have Thomas Hudson, the man who texted Chantel that he wanted their son to know he isn't just dead to everyone, that regardless of everything at the moment, he needs his parents. The man who, according to the Daily Mail, walked his son into that federal courthouse standing by his kid, which, look, that's what fathers do, but it's also the same father that Anna's family accuses of actively slowing down the process. Then there's Christopher Kepner, Anna's biological father, caught in the middle of all of it, married to the suspect's mother, stepfather to the boy accused of killing his daughter, the man who stood in that Brevard County courtroom in December supporting Chantel during custody proceedings, who told people he wanted the kid to face consequences, who now won't confirm or deny that the charges include SA. That's a man holding an impossible position, and every word he chooses or doesn't choose carries weight. The legal road ahead is complicated, and it's going to take time because this happened in international waters. Federal jurisdiction applies. The hearing was closed, sealed because the accused is under 18. Everything stays sealed unless and until the case is formally transferred to adult court, which prosecutors have reportedly indicated they intend to pursue. If that transfer happens, the record's open. The public gets to see what the FBI spent 3 months building in silence. And that's the thing that should bother everyone following this case. Regardless of where the charges land, virtually everything the public knows about the death of Anna Kepner comes from a custody battle between two divorced parents fighting over their kids. The suspect's identity, the memory loss claims, the text messages, the medication history, the obsession allegations, the prior incidents in the home, all of it leaked through civil court filings. In a family law case, it had nothing to do with the federal homicide investigation. The FBI built a wall of silence that lasted 90 days. The family court blew it wide open, and now, according to the Daily Mail, the charges may be more severe than anything that was publicly reported during those 3 months of waiting. Because let's think about what that means. If the preliminary findings in November said no signs of SA, and federal prosecutors are now reportedly bringing charges that include it, then something changed. Either those early findings were incomplete, which happens, especially before full autopsy and forensic workups are finished, or the deeper investigation uncovered evidence that told a very different story than the initial assessment. Either way, every piece of behavioral evidence that circled this case from the beginning, the alleged obsession, the FaceTime incident, the fixation that Anna's ex-boyfriend family tried to warn people about, all of it takes a different and much darker weight. Anna Kepner was 18 years old. She was a cheerleader at Temple Christian School in Titusville, Florida. She wanted to join the Navy after graduation. She loved dolphins, butterflies, and Georgia Bulldogs football. She'd gotten her boater's license before she could drive. Hundreds of people showed up to her celebration of life. They turned her car into a memorial with flowers and balloons and handwritten notes. Her grandmother remembered the last thing she'd ever said to her. "Mima, I love you. See you later." And then never saw her alive again. 3 months after that night on Deck 8 of the Carnival Horizon, a kid in a camo hoodie walked into a federal courthouse and said nothing. The hearing was closed. The records are sealed, but the silence that protected this case for 90 days is finally, slowly starting to crack. And what's behind it may be worse than anyone was willing to say out loud thus far. Innocent till proven guilty. We will keep following this for you. Your thoughts in the comment section on YouTube or on our Substack. Check out our Substack. It's free to join right now. Just go to hiddenkillerspod.com. It'll take you right there. And check it out. All of our reporting, it's there a day before it goes public everywhere else. You get it in advance. There's no ads. Binge away. Come check it out. Come join us and comment as well. We'd love you to be part of our community. Or YouTube. Comments there. Love to get your thoughts. If you have not subscribed to our podcasts and you can take us with you on the go in audio form, please do so on Apple Podcasts. The link is in the description. Or just search Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi wherever you get podcasts and press subscribe. Give me your thoughts in the comments section. We'll continue our conversation there. Until then, I'm Tony Bruschi. We'll talk again real soon.
Want more on this case and others? Then press subscribe now and don't miss a moment of true crime coverage from Tony Bruschi and the Hidden Killers podcast.